Today I want to talk about some things we all grew up believing. Things that sound normal because everyone repeats them. But when you look carefully, they are not true at all. Some of these ideas came from movies. Some came from mistakes in books. Some were created by people long ago. And some were simply repeated so many times that the whole world accepted them. In this video, we will go through 10 things that many people still think are facts, but they are completely wrong. Let's begin. 1. Vikings did not wear horned helmets. Most people imagine Vikings with big metal helmets and 2 horns on the sides. But history shows something different. No horned Viking helmet has ever been found. All the helmets discovered by archaeologists are simple metal helmets without horns. The idea of horns came from costume designers in the 1800s. They wanted Vikings in plays and operas to look more dramatic. So they added horns. The world copied that idea, and the myth spread everywhere. Books, cartoons, movies. But real Vikings never used horned helmets. They were practical fighters. Horns would easily get caught in trees or in battle. That is the truth. 2. Napoleon was not short. Another popular belief is that Napoleon Bonaparte was a very short man, but he was actually around 5 feet 7 inches tall. That was normal height for men at that time. So why do we think he was tiny? Because the British, who were his enemies, spread that idea as propaganda. They wanted people to think he was small and weak. They used cartoons and posters to make him look shorter. People believed the joke, and the story became history. Even today, people say Napoleon complex to describe short men. But the real Napoleon was not short at all. 3. Humans do not use only 10% of their brain. This is another idea that many people still believe. Movies and motivational speakers love to say we use only 10% of our brain. But scientists have proven this is not true. Brain scans show that humans use all parts of the brain, just not at the same time. Different parts are active for different tasks. The idea of 10% came from an old, misquoted article from over 100 years ago. It was never meant to be taken literally. The truth is, our brains are fully active, and every part has a purpose. 4. The Great Wall of China cannot be seen from space. Many of us learned that the Great Wall of China is the only man-made object visible from space. But astronauts have confirmed that this is false. The wall is long, but it is narrow. From space, it blends in with the landscape. You cannot see it with the naked eye. This myth began long before people went to space. Writers guessed it must be visible because it was famous and huge. But guesswork is not reality. So the Great Wall is impressive, but not visible from space. 5. Columbus did not prove the Earth was round. A lot of people think Christopher Columbus set out to prove that the Earth was round. The story says everyone believed the Earth was flat until Columbus. But that is not true. For thousands of years, educated people already knew the Earth was round. Ancient Greeks had even measured the size of Earth with surprising accuracy. Columbus actually believed the Earth was smaller than it really is. He miscalculated the distance. He got lucky that land was in his way, the Americas, or he would have died at sea. The flat Earth versus Columbus idea came later because it made the story sound more dramatic. 6. Cleopatra was not Egyptian. When people think of Cleopatra, they picture an Egyptian queen. But Cleopatra was actually Greek. She belonged to the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek family that took over Egypt after Alexander the Great conquered it. So yes, she ruled Egypt. But she was not Egyptian by blood. Her family ruled for generations, but they kept their Greek language and culture, Movies and shows have portrayed her in many different ways, but historically she was Greek. 7. Einstein did not fail math. There is a famous story that Albert Einstein failed his math classes. People tell this story to motivate others, but it is completely false. Einstein was very good at math. He mastered advanced topics like calculus at a young age. The myth came from a misunderstanding of his school records. He switched from one grading system to another, which made it look like his grades were low, but they were actually high. Einstein struggled with some subjects, like language and memorization, but he never failed math. 8. Gladiators did not always fight to the death. Movies show gladiator fights as bloody battles where only one survives. But in reality, gladiators were valuable athletes. They were expensive to train, feed, and house. Owners did not want them to die every match. Most gladiator fights ended when one fighter was clearly defeated, not dead. Many gladiators fought many times and lived long lives. They were more like modern sports fighters than disposable warriors. Of course, some matches were deadly, but most we. 9. The witches of Salem were not burned. Another misunderstanding is that women accused of witchcraft in Salem were burned alive. But in the Salem witch trials, none of the victims were burned. Most were hanged. One man was pressed to death with stones. Burning at the stake was used in Europe, not in Salem. The two histories mixed together over time. People repeat the burning story because it sounds more dramatic, but it is not what happened. 10. People in the Middle Ages did not think the earth was flat. Many people believe medieval people thought the earth was flat, but scholars in the Middle Ages accepted that earth was round. Books, maps, and teachings from that time all showed a round planet. The flat earth myth came later, in the 1800s, from writers who wanted to make the Middle Ages look ignorant and backward. So the idea that people used to think earth was flat is mostly modern imagination. These 10 examples show how easily false ideas can spread. Sometimes it takes hundreds of years to correct a mistake. Sometimes people prefer a simple story over a complicated truth. And sometimes small misunderstandings grow into worldwide beliefs. History is full of these moments. When you hear something that everyone knows, it is always good to ask, is that really true? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed learning these facts, there are many more unusual stories we can explore together.